Hello everyone, we're going to go over the duck movement or the game object manipulation assignment. So we're basically going to be moving the duck around and have it bounce around the camera area. So the first thing that we need to do is create a new script. I'll name this duck movement. And I'll put 3 because I already have 2 other ones. So double click on that. And here's the window. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to have 2 variables. Speed will determine how fast the duck flies. The other one is vector 3, and this will be called direction. Direction's necessary in order to show what direction the bird is currently flying in, and the way that it will be set up is that the x and y will have a value range of -1 to 1. So negative x will be left, or -1 for x will be left, and then 1 will be right for x. And then for y, 1 will be up, and then -1 will be down. Next, we need to, in the update function, this is where you're going to be moving the duck around. I won't show you what that looks like. You'll have to figure it out. But the hint is that you'll have to change I'll say move the duck by changing the position of the transform. And in order to do that, you need to times direction with speed. So in other words, if x in direction is -1, we'll want to times that by the speed so that the duck will move left however fast it needs to be. Next, we need a public method or function, void, so it won't return anything. I'll call this random direction. So basically what this function is going to do is it's going to create a random direction for when the bird initially is instantiated. So I'll do direction equals new vector 3. In order to change, in order to make it random, we need to use random dot range, and the values will be -1 f, and make sure you have the f, that's very important, and 1 f. For the y, we're also going to do a random range, but this time it'll be from 0.2f to 1f. This is so that the y doesn't become 0 and travel horizontally, or become negative and travel down. We don't want that. We only want it to go up. And of course the z needs to be 0. Okay, and we need to call this function in the start menu so that the direction is set. Okay, now we need another function. What this will do is this will change the direction of, well, actually it'll help flip the direction when the bird reaches a border. So I'll do direction changer, and we will pass in a vector 3, and this will be the flipping, like there will be a vector 3 that flips our current direction. So in order to do that, we'll type in direction equals a new vector 3. And the reason why we're doing this is because we need to times the x values with each other. And I'll just copy this. And of course, 0 needs to be, 0 needs to be for that x value. We need to change these to y. So now, say, like to give you an example of how this works, say the direction is currently -1, which means that the duck's flying left. Well, if we want it to fly right, then we bring in -1 from dir, so that when they're times together, they'll be +1, and the bird will now start flying right. Okay, so this is all we need for, of course you need to figure out how to do this part yourself, but that's basically what we need for the duck movement. Let me just make some quick changes off screen to my code. Okay, now back into here, let's take our duck spawner, actually no, the duck movement, and then attach it to the duck. And then now we need to hit apply to apply it to our prefab. So now when I play it, okay, just 1 second. Okay, I forgot to set the speed, so I'll put that as 0.1, because that's a pretty good speed. I'll click cancel. I'm not exactly sure why that was there. Okay, so we see that the ducks fly in different directions. Okay, now we need to be able to change the direction of the duck. So I'll do right click, C# script, and I'll type in direction changer. I'll do 3 because I already have 2 other ones of them. Double click on it. Drag it out here. For this one, to add a little bit of customization in the inspector, I want to add an enum. So I'll type in public enum. I'll call this dir changer, and then I'll name the 2 constants horizontal and vertical. Actually, oops, spelled that wrong. And we need to create a variable. Okay, I'm going to comment these out because we won't need these. But now we need a special function on collision enter, and then we'll pass in a collision variable technically, and we'll name it hit. Basically what this does, oops, I forgot to make the C capitalized. Basically what this does is that it's a special function that makes it so that when the border has a box collider and then the duck hits it, it'll call this function. And here, whatever hits the border, like its information is passed in, and we need to filter that. We need to know exactly what hit us. So to do that, I need to get the tag, and we need to see if the thing is tagged duck. Okay. Here, in order to change the direction, we'll need to use getComponent. However, I'm going to let you guys figure out how to do this part. So basically you create a duck movement variable, and you assign it using get component of hits. So basically you need to use the hit and the get component of the hit in order to get the duck movement script working. Or I should say, get it from the duck and assign it to this duck movement variable. Now, since we created this union, we're going to use it to filter like our settings. So changer equals changer dot horizontal, and else if changer equals changer vertical. Once again, I won't show you guys how to do this. However, basically you want to take the movement, or the duck movement variable, and call the direction changer script for it. Alright, not script, function, I mean. But I will tell you what to pass in. To pass in as a parameter for the direction changer function, you'll need to pass in a new vector 3, and in order to flip the horizontal motion, we want -1, but we want to keep the vertical motion, so that'll be 1 and 0, of course. Same thing with this one. I won't tell you how to do it, but instead of flipping horizontal, we want to flip the vertical. So in other words, if the y is currently 1, or I should say if the y is currently -1, the duck's going to fly down. But if we pass in -1 as y, -1 times -1 is +1, so the duck will start flying up. So all you need to do to get this working is to figure out how to use getComponent with and assign it to the duck movement variable, then use that variable to call direction changer, and then pass these in as parameters. See that? So I'm going to drag this off screen. And let me copy some of my code to get that script working. basically I have all this code planned out already. Okay. Now we need to, well, I should say that since we're testing for duck, we need to make sure that duck is assigned the tag duck. So I'm just going to do add tag. Oh, this is leftovers. Let me delete that. So I'll delete that as well. So to add the duck tag, you just press the plus sign and then type in duck. And then now click back on the duck and change the tag to duck and then apply it. Okay, now let's create the border. So create 3D game object, cube. Let's make it invisible by turning off the mesh renderer, and let's move this into place. Oops. And let's call this left B for left border. And we need to add our direction changer script to it. Okay. Now let's duplicate this. Rename this right B for right boundary. And let's drag this over to the other side. And once again, duplicate top B. And we'll need to change this to vertical. And let's move this into place. And I will duplicate this once again. And I'll need to make sure that this is below the spawn point. So we got our spawner right here, and then our bottom boundary right here, and then our kill zone all the way down here. So maybe I can even move this down a little bit. It's right there. Now you need to make sure that your duck has a rigid body as well as a box collider. And then you also need to make sure that the boundaries do not have is triggered checkmarked, because we're actually using the collider instead of making it a trigger. So now I think everything should be set. Let me apply this just in case, and let's see if it will bounce around now. And there you go, now you got bouncing ducks. Yay, so many ducks. Okay,